In team negotiations, how many people should make up your team? And what role should each person carry out? That is what you will discover during the next few minutes. You will also find out how you should select team members. Hi, I'm Henk Botha, the negotiation advocate. I got this nickname because I'm also an advocate of the High Court of South Africa. Besides my legal work, I train people how to negotiate better transactions. One might say that the ideal size of a negotiating team is 1. You. You will have full control over your side. Control is a problem in team negotiations. Some people prefer to match the number of negotiators in the other side's team. If the other side consists of 5 persons, then our side must consist of a like number. I doubt whether simple number crunching will do you any good. You need as many people as you need. Each has a specific role. It makes little sense to include persons in your team if you have no use for them. However, if the other side uses a team, you have little choice but to have a team yourself. The next ideal size for a negotiating team is 2, you and 1 more person. When the other side has a large negotiating team, you should not increase the size of your team beyond the number of persons you really need. The smaller your team, the more control you have over your side. The larger your team, the more difficult it will be for you to control the team members. There are just too many nightmare stories of team members who said the wrong thing at the wrong moment. Firmly control your team, because there is a real danger that a team member might make an unauthorized or unnecessary concession. Moreover, the larger your team is, the greater the danger becomes that information might leak out. 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. People talk to friends, colleagues, and family members. These people talk to other people, and sensitive information may get into the wrong hands. Who should be the team members? Well, first of all, you need a chief negotiator. Each member of your negotiating team must have a specific task. If you are the chief negotiator, you will do most of the talking. You will be the leader of your team, the only leader. You will make proposals, trade concessions, and ask for adjournments or caucuses. Since you are responsible for the outcome of the negotiations, it is sensible that you have say in the selection of your team members. Organizations often transgress and violate this principle. If your organization foists team members on you, it may undermine your effectiveness. As chief negotiator, you must have the ability to think strategically and lead your team by carefully considering their opinions before taking decisions. Consult your team during the preparations and during caucuses. However, you should have the final say yourself, as long as you are still acting within the team's mandate. If you are that person, ensure control of your team at all times. You must bring this home to all team members so that they will not say or do something that might undermine your strategy. For instance, you might see a gap in your counterpart's position, while the other team members might not be aware of it. It will be unforgivable for a team member to suggest a caucus at the very point where you are ready to take that gap. Then the team member has not helped you, but has obstructed you instead. Emphasize to your colleagues that they may not speak during your negotiations unless you call upon them. You could also arrange cues or signals. For instance, if you want some time out to recompose your thoughts, you might ask someone for a glass of water. This is the agreed signal then. A team member may then enter the discussions. However, when you are ready to resume your task, that team member must withdraw from the discussions. You can also arrange for the team members to give you signals. Such a signal might consist of a cough or a request by a particular individual to leave the meeting for a while. When the team member does this, it signals a caucus request. However, it is your right as the chief negotiator to decide whether there should be a caucus at that time. A second member of your team is the assistant negotiator. You need an assistant. This person's function is to help you and not to take over your role. I have often witnessed situations where an assistant has tried to take over from the chief negotiator. It is as if the assistant tries to assert his authority in the team. In most of these cases, the opposing team tried to exploit this division in a team. It may happen that your assistant thinks that you do not make enough progress or that you do not exert enough pressure on the other side. If your assistant feels that way, he or she should rather discreetly ask you for a caucus. Remember, you might deliberately create the impression of a misunderstanding. You might deliberately delay the progress to achieve some other goal. Your assistant might not know about this and might misconstrue what you are doing. Therefore, your assistant must take care not to hinder, but to help you. The assistant negotiator must help you by taking away pressure when there is a difficult question to answer, for which you need time to think. In addition, your assistant can bring important points to your attention that you might have missed. After all, you must concentrate not only on what the other person tells you, but also on what you say. The assistant can bring these points to your attention by writing you a short note. The assistant negotiator also serves as an important link between you and the other members of the team. Moreover, the chief negotiator could ask him to maintain contact with the other side if the negotiations deadlock. Then you need a scribe. That is the third member of the team. A scribe or an analyst. This person must listen carefully to detect weak points in the other team's case. He or she must also listen carefully to pick up any indication or signal that the other side might consider a concession. Ask your scribe to write your assistant a short note about it. Your assistant must then decide what to do with it. Ask the scribe to keep record of concessions by either side. Explain what you expect. Say that you will rely mainly on those notes to write the final agreement. Ask that your scribe should not say anything during the negotiation except at your request. Also ask your scribe to compare proposals and to identify inconsistencies. Give your scribe the responsibility to do calculations where necessary. Then you might need an observer. Any further team members could be observers. Ask these observers to listen to and to watch the other side's members. Ask them to study the other side's actions to understand their aims, fears, and priorities. Get them to focus on what is happening in the other side. Ideal persons are people who take a keen interest in other people. Since observers would not be under pressure, they can detect the other team's body language. Then you might need experts. Should you use experts? It is in order to take experts with you to the negotiating table, but they are not members of your team. Do not allow them to participate in the negotiations except at your request. They are there to give expert advice to you and your team. At your request, they may participate in the discussions by giving opinions. Take care that experts do not take over your role as chief negotiator. Explain this to them before the start of the negotiation. Warn them that you might silence them during the negotiation if they get out of line. The basic team structure, therefore, consists of a chief negotiator, an assistant, a scribe, and an observer. This doesn't mean, however, that you must always have 4 members in your team. It all depends on the availability of such persons in your organization. Moreover, it depends on your own personal preference. For instance, you may combine several roles. If the team consists of only 2 persons, the second person may assume the role of the assistant, scribe, and observer. If there are 3 members in the team, one member could assume the role of an assistant, and the other one the role of scribe and observer. How should you select your team? Choosing a team is an important strategic decision. What factors should you consider? First of all, negotiation skill. Negotiating expertise tops the list. This factor seems obvious. Often, however, other considerations influence team selections. For instance, often companies select their negotiators because of their expertise in human resources, project management, law, engineering, or management. Worse, companies select their negotiators because of seniority. A human resources official or project manager may excel in their specific functions, but may lack negotiating skills. If you want a good negotiated agreement, use your best negotiators. A second criterion is knowledge of the issues. It's not necessary that the person must have expert knowledge of the issues. However, it is still necessary that he or she thoroughly understand the issues. Proper preparation can go a long way to give the person a thorough understanding of the negotiating issues. Thirdly, you need motivated persons. Choose persons who want to participate. Motivation is a strong force to get better agreements. Try to avoid persons who see negotiations simply as part of the job. He or she will be there, but doesn't really like to be there. A fourth criterion is availability. Does the person have time for proper preparation? After that, will the person be available to participate in the negotiation at every meeting? Consider the likely length of the negotiation. Some negotiations may go quickly, others may need several sessions over a protracted period of time. A fifth criterion is the specific role. Include a person only if you want him or her to fulfill a specific task. Will the person be the leader of the team, an assistant negotiator, a scribe, or an observer? For more helpful tutorials on negotiation to help you make more profitable deals, like me on Facebook or visit my website henkbotha.com. I'm Henk Botha. Thank you for watching this tutorial.